But
This meeting is being recorded.
I just got that habit of just always wearing it. And then whenever I went and got my hair cut, like several times, the guy was always telling me like, you need to stop wearing a hat because your hair is gonna get really thin and it's gonna start falling out and that. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I must admit, wearing hats back in, even though I start wearing hats now, it did start like because it sits on the hairline like this, and then all of a sudden you take it off and your fucking hairline's back here. So yeah, hats are not good for hairlines. Anyway, sorry I'm a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties in the house. It's so like, it reminds me of being at uni. We have to go to like the shop and get sort of the lecky out, like got a little thing you put in the so like uni days, but we're all good. Jack looking like an absolute stud.
You look a lot younger.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was possible, but it is.
Basically, too.
Possible to be more attractive.
We all know
From 14 to a 15.
I didn't think it was possible. Yeah.
Right, how is everyone? Caitlin, how are you?
I am absolutely fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. You look like you're chilling in bed.
I am. I'm back home today.
Early night.
I am chilling.
Yeah, it's like 5:45 and Caitlin's ready for bed. Yeah, fantastic. AJ, how's yourself?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Thank you very much. I'm actually on time for this one. Like one of my clients watches these, and he mentioned his checking. He's like, you always turn up late. I was like, oh, it doesn't seem very professional. That, so I decided like today I'm gonna sort that out. So I don't want to be making myself look unprofessional on this illustrious podcast.
On this very professional podcast.
Yeah, most professional podcast out there right now, I tell you.
Yeah.
I think what I noticed with just working for myself is like, obviously I don't have any sort of times to get to places. I don't have to get to, like, I just do things on my own time. And that's why I like to call it a run George time, because I just turn up whenever I want. It's basically like Kuba. I know Kuba's very late to literally everything that he does. I get the same sort of, I must admit, the only thing that I'm on time for is a haircut. And I've just recently started nailing that. I used to be 5-10 minutes late, used to rock up because I don't have any, throughout my day, I don't have any sort of time or places to get to on time, if that makes sense. I just go in my own sort of flow.
I absolutely hate being late. Absolutely hate it.
Caitlin's always early for every session. Always there with a logbook.
I just can't be late.
Yeah, I get it though. Like for me, like the anxiety and stress of being late, I think, why the fuck am I stressing? You know, when you're like a couple of minutes late and you're starting to put your foot down in the car and doing all this mad stuff. Jack's the worst. Me and Jack driving home the other
the problem with me is I go by Jack time like you do, George, but I know how long, like I know what I can take off a journey in a car. Yeah. So my perception of how far away something is actually a fifth of like how far it actually is.
Yeah, when we went for sushi, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, me and Katie were just holding on for dear life, preparing for. Well, I don't even know we were getting to sushi at that point. Oh, good times. Khifie, how are you, son? I saw a Physique update from yourself, and I was looking. I was thinking, I might hand you out the 2 lean card here, lad. Update us, my friend.
So I'm sitting around 214, 215.
Gosh,
that's like obviously first thing in the morning, and that literally nothing's changed with regards to food or anything like that. Like it's pretty much stayed the same for like the past kind of few weeks now. The only thing I like, to be fair, the goal is to kind of get ready and be able to obviously push food in towards the show, just to kind of make sure that we can keep food as high as possible. I mean, if the time comes where we had to put food up, I don't see like why that would be a problem, but like I always hold a lot more on like my lower half from the back, and I've noticed my upper halves came in like a lot quicker this year, but I genuinely don't know what it is. I think it's just because like, see, when I was prepping in 2020, like I was working so many hours like PTing and that, and I genuinely think it's because now I'm not doing that and my body's not as stressed as what it was. And I think because it's essentially got so much more time to recover. I'm literally getting up, I'm working, I'm going to train, then I'm recovering. So I'm literally recovering throughout working, obviously, like just with coaching, and then I'm going to the gym, which will take up like maybe an hour and a half a day, and then I come home and that's me. Do you know what I mean? I literally don't do a single thing else. So I think when back in 2020, I was doing so many steps as well, because obviously I was like PT and silly amount of hours a day. I was out from like 5 a.m, back home, back to work, back home, back to work. Because obviously I had like 2-3 hour gaps in between like some work and that. And then obviously I was having to go and train. Then my last client was maybe at like 9 or 10 at night. And then it was like the exact same the next day. So I think that's maybe played a big role in it as well. But I mean, Vicky's happy with how things are going. So I'm just literally like, whatever she says, I'm just kind of doing, and like food's not changed. So I mean, it's still very high, and I'm still fucking in the morning, I'm still pretty much struggling to eat my oats, because it's like there's that much oats, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm definitely like leaner at this point. I know that for sure, but I've got all my trust in Vicky, and whatever she says I'll do. So it's like,
Are you still having the sticky as fuck oats, as you like to call it?
Of course, mate. Of course. To be fair, I've pulled away from that just a little bit.
Yeah, I
just
watched
a
your
little
full
bit.
day of eating, man. They looked a bit sloppy in the full day of eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've pulled back from that just a little bit, but
I'm gonna say it's fucking cement, mate. I don't know how any. I can see it's piping hot as well. I can see the steam coming off of it. So you must have blasted that in the microwave for at least 5 minutes straight. Fuck.
legit. The only reason is because it's just too much volume. It's so much. Give me that in cereal though, and I'll be fine.
How many grams do you have?
McDonald's or
I don't know.
something similar.
How many grams of oats are you having at the moment?
150.
How much do you weigh out your water?
Nah, just stick it under the tap and cover them slightly, and then fire them in the microwave.
Yeah, fucking hell. I was gonna, just don't just go stay away from the cement stuff. It's just not good. It's just dreadful. When I look at that, I'm thinking fucking disgusting.
You don't have anything on top of your oats either, do you, mate? You just have just have whey in it.
Yeah.
Don't have like any banana or anything.
Nah, I've got the chop. I'm actually, I should be having like berries, but I just have berries before bed.
All right.
Like with more, like another shake as well.
Do you use an isolate with your oats?
Nah.
Okay. Say isolate waters it down quite nicely, actually. So if you cement cook it, put an isolate in, it'll then make it a bit runnier. That's how I like it. Also, congratulations on the new car, by the way. I watched your video. Fucking lovely car.
Nice.
Big cars as well. I would expect you to get one of those, I must admit. I remember watching some of your vlogs, and I was like, he's in a Range Rover. And obviously, I know did you have is it Evoque? Did you have one of those before? And then you went to, what's the one you've got now called again?
A Velar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're really nice. I think Evoques are a bit girly, if I'm honest.
Yeah, to be fair, they had fuck all power in behind them as well, and I think that was why it was like, it was perfect for what I needed it for, but it wasn't it. You know what I mean? And growing up, I was always like into having like a bit of power behind a car, so it was like I was missing that, and I like. Do you know what I mean? It was always that thing. But at the same time, when I got the Evoque, I swore that I would never go back to a smaller car, because it was just like I just felt so much better and just so much more comfortable in like a bigger car. So it was gonna just be, I just wanted to get something that obviously had a bit more power, but was still like relatively like higher off the floor.
Yeah, I quite like sitting in high cars. You feel like you're fucking boss. And a lot of people give you a bit more respect on the roads, I notice, when you're sitting a little bit higher up. Everyone gets out of your way, compared to when I used to be in a little Peugeot 107. People would just be fucking up my ass in that little 1 litre thing. Jesus Christ. I remember I used to go on the motorway, and sometimes it used to be really windy, and honestly, that car would just rock. It would shake like that. It's 2 hands on the wheel. Only tiny little thin wheels. I like this wide, the wheels. It's great little car, great little.
Whenever I go to Elite, I have to like mentally prepare myself to go over the M62. So I'm literally like holding on like.
Yeah, it's so bad over there.
Your car's great, Caitlin. Like, when you pulled up at ours, I was like, yes, that is so you.
So you.
What do you mean it's so me?
I'm glad you weren't picking us.
Picanto as a person, because quite frankly, that is offensive.
That time we went to sushi, I was glad that, well, I'm glad that Jack was driving to an extent, but I was glad.
Oh,
But it
watch
wasn't
it now,
gonna be-
boy. Watch it.
Why did you want me to drive us?
Yeah, I thought you was going to drive us, and then I saw your car. I was like, I'm not getting in that. AJ, my friend,
Yeah.
how's things? How's the off season?
Yeah, good man. Yeah, I had a call with Berto quite recently, so we're just having like a couple of months will pass, and then we'll have another like Zoom call.
Yeah.
I'm convinced he's always high when he's doing them. He's
He looks like a stoner.
such
He
a
really does,
stoner,
doesn't
man. I love him. I love it. If anyone's like coached by him that listens to this, I actually love it. I'm just joking, or maybe not. But no, honestly, like no, he's sort of. We already mapped out to like get to the 190s, which I told him at the start. I said anywhere between 190 and 200 is like where I feel like great in the gym, and I'm just doing my best stuff. And that's pretty much what I've been doing like the last month or so is really doing my best stuff, in the gym, like
Throwing the 170 kilo.
if you can call it a bent over row. So like, yeah, I feel like it's even doing things like that to me, I didn't even have to think about it today. If I was, much below 175, I'd have to really start thinking about, okay, this is going to be a bit sore. This is going to hurt. I might hurt my lower back. I don't want to be thinking about that when I'm in an off season. I just want to be picking up weights, knowing that if I'm used okay form, I'm probably not going to get hurt. I feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. So that's where we got to. And then the plan, so I mentioned in the last episode of this, didn't I, about maybe not doing next year, maybe doing next year. And I always, when I'm in a year off, I always get about 3 or 4 months in and think, do I need longer? All of these things creep into my head. So at the moment, the plan's still to go next year. So I've got to make that work in terms of the timeline. So to do that, I don't want to start again at, 200 pounds. It's unlikely. Want to start a bit lighter. So we've planned out a mini cut in May just to see how I respond to that. I feel welcoming of it in a way because appetite's starting to definitely drop off quite significantly. It's not hard to get in the food. I could definitely eat more. I said to Berto, I was like, if you want me to get to 210, I'll go to 210. No problems, easy. But he saw my shots and he was like, yeah, no, I think it's going to be a smart idea just to pull down a little bit. So where we land up, it will probably be around about 180, maybe a little bit lighter. So still in that good performance range. I can imagine that I'll still get stronger. Or if definitely not lose strength, maintain most, maybe just small drop offs on presses, but probably minor. Because I'm at that point now where I feel the negative effects of this body weight a little bit, like the fitness element. Like I said to Jack on the other day, after I came off that set of 15 at 5.5, I had honestly, I probably had about 5 more in my legs, but I had none in my lungs. As soon as I got to 10, the time at the top, it's just that I literally feel like my lungs are going to explode. And yes, you could argue you're part of a bit of cardio or something, but at this body weight for me, I'm closing in 50 pounds above stage weight again. So it's a heavy AJ. I feel it. So I think that will be the next move for me. And then we'll just see where that takes me. It would be nice to just see what I'm looking like, a little leaner, and also then come back to this body weight and it should look quite different because it just will be like a reverse out of a mini cut to get to here rather than a whole recovery from a prep. And then it's just the body weight should look quite different, I think. So that will be exciting. And I just need the structure to my off season because I said to Keith in a voice note the other day, I said, if I was doing this myself, I probably would do, what I tended to do in previous off seasons, which is just sit. I probably just sit. And, I think there is merit in coming slightly down to then spend more time in an actual surplus rather than basically just sitting at maintenance for what might be another fucking, 5 months or so. So I see the merit in it. I'm putting my trust in someone else, so I've got to put my trust in him. So we'll see how it pans out.
How is that for you? Because obviously you've self-coached yourself now for many years. How is it to actually let someone else, especially obviously Berto, he is very good at what he does, but for someone like yourself who has just gone, right, you take control of that. How you okay with that? Like, you a little bit sometimes, have you sort of questioned his approach to things, or are you a little bit like, when someone tells you to do something, but then you start doing something else, or slightly sort of tailoring it towards what you want to do? Have you done anything like that, or you just gone, right, he does, or questioned anything?
I think I'm at a point where I need it. I really need it for me to sort of be at the next level when it comes to contest prep, because I looked at my prep last year, and on paper, it was just, there was just so many things that I wouldn't have done with a client. And when I looked back at that, I was like, that I can't keep doing that. I can't keep losing that amount of weight, being so heavy so far out, and having to end up dieting on, not very much food whatsoever at the back end. So if there's a way for me to do it better, I've got to then put my trust in someone else.
Yeah.
And I believe there is, because a lot of the reasons why I get myself in those spots is not because I don't know what I'm doing, but more so is because I'm just not thinking as much about myself as I need to. I'm putting a lot of energy into the people that I coach, because I'm very, very passionate about getting them results and getting them on stage in the best possible shape, and having them do the best preps that, I'm maybe not allowing myself enough time or accountability to me. So the way I see it is, if I listen, I'll be better. That's the way I viewed it. So yes, there's things where I think maybe I wouldn't do this right now. Maybe I'd save this for later. And I'm sure there's going to be points in the prep where I'm like, fucking hell, you really want me to do this? Especially when it comes to, like, I'm kind of like you, George, where it's like, it'll probably be the more food. It'll be like, I'll run this 600 gram day. And I'll be like, fucking hell, are you sure? And then, it'll be like checking my glutes every 5 minutes in the mirror kind of shit, So I think I've just viewed it with, okay, listen, I'll be better, be excited about it. And that's the way I'm taking it. I'll take it in my stride, and we'll see what happens.
So he's doing what's he do? Is he doing your nutrition? Is he doing your he's doing your nutrition?
Just nutrition. Yeah, no, I think we had to be fair to Bo, like, whenever we have the call, it's an hour call, and I'd probably only need half an hour or 25 minutes of it, because I ask him all that I want to know about where we're going next. And then he'll map it out on my coaching sheet with him. So he'll just take it all together and then shoot me an email saying, just confirming the few bits that we covered in the call. But last call, I said, I don't have any more questions, is there anything else you want to chat about? And he just was like, so how are things responding in training? Then he just gave me a few little ideas, little things that I could tweak, that I'm currently doing, a different perspective on things, which, I've always respected. He's, sort of tried to play a little bit of a role in some different things I do for chest, and different things that I do for my arms. And, so he's having a little bit of a role there still, because at the end of the day, man, I respect him a lot. He's been in this industry a lot longer than I have. He's taken a lot of some of the best physiques in the world to the stage. And that's another reason, to be honest, why I have the trust, is because his coaching eye is something that I respect a lot. His ability to know whether I've got what I need to get what I want, kind of thing. Because he's seen people, do what I want to do, essentially at the level that I want to be at. So yeah, he's just doing nutrition at the moment. And it's funny, actually, for the mini diet, he's it's again another interesting thing that I'm not sure I'd use this with clients myself, but he has given me kind of ranges, quite open ranges, and he worded it to me. He was like, this is a tool I want you to be able to be better at, is understanding when we can really hit it hard, and when you actually need to sort of kind of back off the pedal a little bit. So he set up my normal low day diet, a range that's carbohydrates, there's 100 gram range I can hit. So if I feel like I can attack and I can get after it in a mini car, I can go at the lower end of the range. If I feel like I need to back off the pedal a little bit, my rate of loss is maybe a little bit too quick, I can back off and hit the higher end. And then also he's run a model where I have higher days the day before my push day and the day of my push day. But on my rotation, that will happen, I believe, every 8 days. So it's a smart setup, and it's like off the conversations that we had in terms of like me struggling to retain some of my pressing stuff. He set that up with that in mind, have me go in with like some extra body weight, some extra body fluid into those sessions, and have more performance, because it's probably something I do for clients. And again, something that I wouldn't do for myself a lot of the time, because I'm just like, when I turn my mindset to fat loss, it's like, how can I get the most fat loss? And that's staying in the most of the deficit that I can stay in, right? So yeah, no, I think there's a lot of smart things that he's doing already that I'm either going to be like nodding my head or thinking, oh, okay, cool, I could actually use this with clients too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way I see it for you as well, it's you're learning off the best, and you're, still, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the country right now. And in order for you to be probably, one of the best ever to do this, you need to continuously keep learning, and if you learn off the best, then absolutely there's some vital things that you could take into your own coaching and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, mate. I'm excited to follow that for sure. Thorburn, update us, mate. You're looking lean in the face. Obviously the beard's gone. Look at that.
I did the Lee Priest trick. So what he used to do is, when he used to diet, he used to grow his hair for a while, and then he'd cut it, and everyone would be like, oh, you look leaner, something's different. It's just because he has his haircut. So that's what I've gone for. I've instantly look leaner.
Yeah.
But I look like a child as well. Now, in terms of myself, I went away last weekend, just for like a bank holiday, not like a getaway, but just went to a few places, and it was coinciding with me having a couple of off days going into it as well in training. So it didn't help me at all. Like you'll all be the same. When we travel, it's just hard to replicate the same session as if you were staying at home. I did a few more steps throughout the day. I was training at a different time. I was kind of like, I quite like going into my sessions just thinking about the session. Obviously, I don't like having anything like blurring it before, but obviously I was out at a couple of cities with Poppy, and it was nice, but at the same time, I'm not going into the session with the same sort of mentality that I normally do. Trained at York, and I had an absolute breakdown training push, because I literally couldn't even press one plate aside on a prime press. And then you fast forward that 4 days, I did like 2.5 for a really good set in Rotherham. So it just shows that there's a mental element for it with me, and I really need to get in my head on in that regards. But feel a bit better now. I've had a few good sessions now past few days, but I did have a bit of a blip last week. But yeah, so in terms of fat loss, I think I dropped another pound, nearly 1.5 pounds over the past 4 days. So it's coming off nicely. Expenditure's not really that high. I'm doing 8,000 steps at the moment, cardio 3 times a week, but that's what I was doing in off season anyway, so that hasn't changed. And calories are still fairly high. I think they're about 3.5, something like that, 3.5 on training days. So yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm almost thinking of just like taking calories away for the sake of it, just because I feel like I'm still eating quite a lot. But the rate of loss is decent at the moment. And Georgia, like you saw me today, I'm definitely still tightening up.
Yeah.
Any changes? I've made a change now in over a week now. So I think it's just a matter of riding this out. And definitely, if I can carry on getting my training back, because that I had a good session a couple of sessions ago. If I have another good one tomorrow, it'll help, because like I'm losing weight, fat, whilst not training too well. And I think once I start training, like once it starts to pick up again, because I'm confident it will, I'm sure it'll ramp up fat loss again.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like your expenditures at the moment, you've still got so many tools to play with, which is great for you. It's just for you need to like just get that training sorted. And once you get that training sorted, I don't think you'll probably need to play with many of that tools, because when you start, I know when you're on it in the gym, obviously being around you more, I know when things are going well, when you've got this sort of confidence that comes out, this cocky confidence. I love it. I love to see it. But yeah, for me, like when I know my performance is shit and I'm losing weight, I feel like I'm like losing muscle.
Yeah.
It's such a strange feeling. I feel like I should. I don't know. It's very like even today, like I had started to notice my pushing movements. It's becoming a fucking challenge. And even Kuba came over to me in the gym today because I was pissed off. You probably saw AJ. I was like, I didn't even fucking talk to you today.
I left you to it. That's why, man.
I was
I can see it all over your body language when you're not having a good one. So just leave it to it.
I literally had my hat down like this all session. I was like, I do not want to speak to anyone because it was just, I'm sitting here thinking like, why is this happening? But, you know, Kuba reminded me and kind of gave me a bit of a kick up the arse halfway through my session. He was like, look, you know, some things are going to happen like this, you know, take out any exercises that have been stalling for a while. And he just mentioned like, you know, use this time to actually maybe reset a few exercises rather than, you know, trying to chase and get frustrated with low because you know it's going to happen. But yeah, like mentally I sit there and think, and even, you know, I said to you, I feel like shit, Jack, earlier when I was posing, but then you were like, you know, you're looking pretty full, mate, considering. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are running from my head, and when my performance isn't great, I start to think, you know, what's going on here? Am I losing? I don't know. It's a lot. It's so weird because I never have this issue in a surplus ever. If I have a bad day, I'm just like, it's just a bad day. But when it comes to prep, it just fucking messes with my head. And I was just driving home today and I'm just thinking, I'm just evaluating everything that I'm doing way too much. So yeah, it's when performance isn't there, it really is, especially in a prep, it can fucking get to the point where I don't get emotional about it. I'm not going to cry like I did like back in 2019, but I do get really emotionally invested into my training during a prep, especially because you work so hard in your off season to get to where you are, and then all of a sudden it just sometimes goes like that.
But yeah, hey, if you need a raging Welshman to fucking scream in your ear, remember, just let me know and I'll be over there.
I must admit, I when I did that Alanza's hack set Wednesday, I needed that. You know, I told Jack just to come over and just just shout at me because I don't know, it's just it's in my head. I've got I want to do it, but when it comes to my body wanting to do it right now, my body's just like, it's like a battle at the moment for some reason. And like I knew over the past couple of days, when I start to feel like that, I know something's going to happen. Like even when I had that big drop on the scale weight the other day, I knew based upon how that session went and how I felt in that session, I knew I was going to get a new low or big drop the next following day. So again, it does get predictable, but I get to this point where I just need someone just to continuously keep fucking shouting at me. And all of a sudden I can just flick the switch. It's very strange in a deficit for me. AJ, I've got actually a question for you. Because I saw today you was doing block pulls at the end of the session. Barbara at the beginning and then a block pull at the end.
Yeah.
Tell us and one thing I've noticed as well, you train arms every fucking day, mate. Every day. You are going for it, mate.
I'm just looking at Keith and like nodding.
He knows.
I chat to Keith a lot, man. Like, so yeah, I mean with the block pulls, funny enough, I was gonna chat to Keith about this at some point soon anyway, but with the block pulls, today I wanted to just give them a shot. Like I aimed for a set that I knew was going to be relatively comfortable. It ended up being like all right, but I don't think I accounted for the fact that my back was completely trash from putting them at the end. So they're hard at the end, man. They were really hard. But the goal with those was to like try to use them to sort of improve my lockout, because if you notice my conventional deadlift, it's always really quite quick off the floor up to about my knee, and then as soon as I get to that position, I'm really sort of struggling to like lock it out and finish reps that should really be mine. So that was that was sort of the reason for putting it in. However, I think something that is an issue with the block pull is that, and Keith will probably actually agree with this, is that when you're doing a block pull, you're actually just getting efficient at a position of a block pull. Whereas the position I need to be getting better at is the position below my knee in where I'm at in a conventional, which is slightly different, because when you pull it off the floor, the way your hips shift and the way your torso is, you're always going to be in a slightly different position to when you pulled it off blocks, because you're just going to get yourself into the strongest possible position off blocks comparative to a pause. So I think I might end up not doing that, because it might end up knocking into another session a little bit too much, especially with the row already at the beginning. If I didn't have the row, I'd probably be able to get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was I probably will put a pause deadlift in, to be honest. Which I have done before, and one of the reasons why I did that was Khifie as well. Because Khifie does a lot of pauses, and again, just like it's I kind of said in my post today, it's like movement carryover. So if I'm wanting to get stronger at deadlift, and I'm eking away at stuff now, well, dead stop wise, I am doing stuff that I've never ever pulled off the floor dead stop wise for reps. So if I want to get more and more on the bar, I've got to do stuff that's going to like kind of fix some of these problem areas. So I'm not sure if I'll run the block pull. I might give it another shot. I'll actually probably send you the video of it later, Keith, and see what you think. But it just felt like so fucking hard for me. I've always been crap at block pulls anyway. I'm always weaker off a block at that level than I am off the floor, because I obviously use a lot of leg drive. So yeah, and then the arm stuff, honestly, mate, I just train literally with arms. If they're not sore, I'm training them. That's the way I treat it. I do them at the beginning or the end of legs. I do biceps and triceps at the end of pretty much push and pull. Doesn't seem to have too much of an impact on other sessions. And then when I'm recovered and like I don't feel like I need a rest day at home, I'll go in and do an actual arm day the day before legs on my current split. I just literally I am not getting told that I have a weakness in my arms again. So they might not have the best insertions, which they don't, which is why I hit my front double like that. It's because they have terrible insertions here. If I hit it like that, I don't have a peak and have a massive gap. So it's why I have that rotation, because I bring in more like fucking forearm.
Just tear them, and then get reattached.
Tearing them is probably a option. With the amount that they're carrying soreness session to session, a tear is likely. So I'm heading that direction, mate.
Do it. Get them reattached longer.
On that note, have you noticed? Obviously, sometimes you're obviously it's quite hard to notice improvements in the arms, but
yeah,
have you noticed a difference since you've been training like arm days? I noticed you don't post much about arm days on Instagram, but I know you do go in and do a cheeky arm day. Have you noticed improvements?
Yeah. So like, it's funny. The weeks that I do the arm days, I'm the happiest with my arms, because they're carrying that more inflammation and more like just general soreness.
Yeah.
And I think psychologically, when I take my shots, knowing that I've done an arm day in the week, I'm like, my arms look great, they're fine. And then if I haven't done the arm day, I hit a front double and there's guilt ridden across my face. And it's like I said to Bert in the last call, I was like, I feel when I hit a front double bicep on stage, it's the only shot really. Yeah, really the only shot where I feel heavily fucking compromised. Because I'm like, I hit it and I'm like, I want to get out of this pose. There's people around me with bigger arms. I don't like it. And I always end up hitting it fucking badly as a result, because I'm not confident. Like UK FBA finals, I was hitting my front double bicep like this. I was like all the way over here because I was like not confident hitting it. And Lee came up to me after. He's like, "What the fuck?" He didn't even congratulate me on winning. He's like, "What the fuck were you doing in front double bicep?" I was like, "Thanks." But yeah, so I'd seen a small difference. It's hard, like you said, in the off season to know what is fat, what is muscle. But I think when I start the mini cut, I'll probably post up a picture, just like I did at the end of the last off season. I'll post up a couple of pictures of how I'm sort of currently looking, and you can let me know whether you see a difference at all. But I think most of the difference will be seen like on the way down next time.
Yeah,
so I'll just keep doing the arm days for now.
Because I was gonna say, I always see him train arms regardless. Every time I'm in the gym, there will be some sort of arm movement in there. But no, honestly, like arms, I know is a weakness for you, and I know, like you just said, you don't feel confident with that side of things. So, I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out if it works. It's the only thing you've got to do. Find out. Caitlin, the rave. Tell us.
Oh, God.
Any good? I saw some wonderful stories across the social media. Obviously, I know you won't probably mind me saying this, but I know obviously when we did the last podcast and we spoke about like I think you felt a little bit guilty about like going out and enjoying yourself and
Yeah.
doing things that you should be doing at your age. And I think a lot of people obviously that watch this are probably anywhere between like 18 and sort of that 21, 22 sort of age at uni. And, you know, I said to you on Instagram about like, look, just like you've got so many years ahead of you when it comes to training, when it comes to your goals. Like, and I look back at when I was at uni and I thought, you know, in fact, I should have been doing what you were doing right now. And I know obviously he's trying to balance like being young, living your best life, but as well as that, you've got these bodybuilding goals that you want to achieve, and it's very hard to juggle. But you know, how do you deal with that? Like, you know, do you still struggle with it?
Yeah, like even going into this weekend, like I just keep calling it like imposter syndrome, because you know, I've put out there that I want to be pro and that's what I want to do, so therefore my actions need to reflect it. But then sometimes I'll just sit down and I'll think, I don't want to turn 30 and look back and think like I wasted my time. Not that, you know, doing everything to reach my goals would be a waste of time at all.
Yeah.
I just don't want to even have that possibility. And right now, like, although I say, you know, I go out maybe once every 3-4 months. And, you know, even after this weekend, went into the leg session on Tuesday, I was up like 2 reps on all compounds. You know, going into push, I was up like 2-3 reps. And obviously I know it's not the most optimal thing in the world, but
you're probably still fucking charging, that's right.
yeah, that's why I was up 3 reps, to be fair. But yeah, I'm still very much going through that. And I actually spoke to Jordan Peters about this, and he was like, if you ask Hollingshead what he did, you know, whilst he was trying to, like, he still goes out as a beer, that sort of thing. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to sort of come to terms with it, like, and actually be able to go out without any sort of guilt. But at the same time, I'm just trying to get my balance. But yeah, it was a great time. Like, it was honestly so good, and I'm really glad that I've done it. But at the same time, now I'm ready to retire for a few months.
I can tell you were enjoying it, Caitlin. You were smiling the whole time.
Yeah,
mate, I couldn't stop smiling.
Standard. But it's also quite nice to, obviously, when I went out with you guys on New Year's, it's actually quite nice to be with actually bodybuilders.
Yeah,
rather than going out.
I was passed out by about just before 11. Like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
Fully passed out.
What time did that start, by the way? It started early, didn't it?
It started at 3.
It's not too bad then.
Yeah, so a day rave is probably the best option.
Yeah, a day rave. I just find it weird, like just being off my head during the day, though. That's the only issue. I'd rather do that at night.
You're not bothered when you are off your head.
No, that's true. That is true. Right, let's do some questions. I've actually got loads of questions. I don't even know how. Some good, some like someone's just put it in pink eye help now. Okay, this one's quite a good one from Brad. If you could have one attribute from each other, what would it be? He says he'll take Khifie squat.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you meant by attribute then. I didn't know if you meant like body part.
No, just anything.
Just anything.
Who's going to start now? Thorburn, you start.
AJ's income.
I was literally just going to fucking say that.
Fucking hell, mate.
Who's the richest on the podcast? AJ. We'll say
AJ. Funny.
I don't think that's not what he's looking for, though.
No,
I don't care.
He's looking for body part, I think.
Yeah,
that as a compliment.
No, he's looking. No, I don't necessarily.
I'll take AJ's cock then.
No, he don't. He doesn't
That's
mean
not body part.
He doesn't mean body part. He means anything.
What did he say? Attribute.
Actually, any attributes like you have, like, okay, so for example, if I use AJ for example, I would love to be as well spoken, and like when I listen to AJ, he's very engaging.
Articulate.
I would love to have that attribute myself, because when I talk, I sometimes talk like I'm a fucking retard. Literally, I string words together that don't even exist. Whereas when I listen to AJ, I could probably listen to him all day, sort of thing, because he's very well spoken. That's the attributes that I'm talking about. Obviously, me, everyone will want to be me because I'm a stud, literally the best looking person on this podcast. So you don't need to answer that one. But
Jack's heavy, you know.
nah, not with that. Not with that.
You fucking
fucking-
is.
He walked in the house the other day and I'm, what have you done?
He
Have you
fucking
shaved off
laughed
your
at me.
beard?
He fucking laughed at me.
I didn't even I didn't say, oh, you got a nice haircut. I was like, what have you fucking
What have you
done?
done? What have you done?
What have you done to that face? See any attributes? Jack, start.
Oh,
AJ's income, our class as one.
Don't.
Caitlin's potential.
Okay.
Good one.
Take a fucking compliment, Caitlin. Roll your
Thank
eyes
you
at
very
me.
much. I
I'm
appreciate
nice
So
to you
humble.
once. I'm nice to you again. Okay.
Sorry, I just said thank you.
What would you take from me, Jack? Beard genetics. Fucking hell, your beard's fucking bumper.
Deep thought.
Deep thought. Yeah, we're on a podcast here,
Yeah, I
mate.
don't. Yeah, I know. I want to hurry up, but at the same time, I don't want to mess it up.
The listeners are now just swiping the Spotify app down.
Yeah, they're checking their phones on the walk.
I don't know, in terms of like your work, your desire to work and your work rate with that, you are very driven in that regard. So I'd say I'd take that. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm not, but you are very driven with your work. You're very on the ball with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd tend to do that.
Appreciate that.
And then Chief Keef. Definitely not his oat making ability.
Always fucking
You just-
pre-workout ritual.
I just have to say, like, his ability to train, really, like the way he does. I'd say that definitely.
AJ.
I think I was thinking about. No, just 2 seconds. I was thinking about this earlier. People want to talk about like genetics and stuff. Khifie, I wouldn't say you have insane genetics in terms of like building muscle, but you have insane genetics in terms of your recoverability.
Yeah.
And then that
And
is
work
the
ethic.
reason. That is the reason why you get to where you do. So it's not the fact that your genetics are insane for growing. It's the fact because your recoverability is so good, you can grow. So I think that's what people get confused about. So yeah, I'd probably say that.
Yeah.
Basically, Jack said you've got shit genetics
Pretty much.
and you've just worked hard for it.
To be fair, I would rather take that because half the time it's always fucking the question boxes on Instagram is like always regarding genetics and how I've got these fucking crazy genetics and all this. If there's one thing that I absolutely despise in the fucking bodybuilding industry, it's genetics.
What did you look like when you were 16?
Fat.
Were you?
I was
What
fat.
sort of muscle? What sort of muscle mass did you have?
Like next to none.
Well, there's your answer then.
I was like, mate, don't get me started.
I must admit, Keith, I'll take, in terms of genetics, I'll take your fucking bicep peaks.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
Especially in a real old bicep, mate. They're like fucking like a hill, mate.
That's,
AJ, go on.
that's what AJ's going for now. That's where I got it from, training arms every day.
I'm going for the hill peak.
Yeah, well, but AJ, I haven't seen you do the Khifie kills yet, though.
No, I've
mate,
done them.
I still
He
do
did.
them.
I've done them like 100%. Fucking
Fucking anterior delt in there. What am I going next?
Yeah.
All right. Oh Christ above. Let's go around this side because I'm like Keith's over to here for me. Keith, I'll take, without saying the same thing as Jack said, I'll take his. I'll take a nice one. I'll take his ability to remain very humble despite his muscularity, development, lifts. I never see him get cocky, but he could so easily be a complete cock. So I like that about Keith. Like when we train, like, he's putting way more on the hack than me, but there's no like cockiness about it. He's just focused on what he's doing. His set matters. My set matters. It's fucking cool. Like that. Jack, I think I'd take your just general humor and personality.
Nah, you
not-
wouldn't,
I'm
because
not
your
as
missus
funny
would
as you.
fucking hate it.
I think another good one for you is like the fact that you just like deep down, I know you do care about some things, but you do have like quite a outlandish, like, I don't really care, I'm going to do my thing kind of personality. I like that as well, because you like you stick to what you believe in, and that's I think important in a industry where it's so easy to be twisted by other people. So yeah, I like that. Caitlin, because I would probably say the potential side of things, the scaling of where she can go. I think that's definitely one of those. Or I think I'd take, if I could be back at Caitlin's age and train in the way that she does, I would take that, because I know that I would be a lot better than I am now as a result of that. So learning how to train the way that Caitlin does and the mindset that she has at her age, I think I would take that. Georgie boy, fucking hell.
There's so much.
What would I take from you, man? I think with you, mate, another like a thing that we both possess, I think is just our ability to work, and the passion like for what you do on a daily basis. And that's kind of a similarity that we both have, but it's something that I see in you and I like a lot and I rate a lot. So if I could have one thing from you, it'd probably be like sort of the work ethic, the work rate side of things. Not afraid to work. So I respect that a lot. So that's what I want from you.
Keith, go on, lad.
Put on the fucking spot here, man. I should have been thinking about this.
I wouldn't want anything from any of yours.
Exactly, because I'm fucking
better than any of you.
Exactly. Nah, to be fair, I'd probably like I would take Jack's cockiness to fight anybody that calls him out on something. Because anybody that calls me out on something, I try and just ignore them. Jack straight on the story for 3 days calling them out.
Only if it's a rest day. Only if it's a rest day.
No, it's a rest day.
It's quality.
George, I would definitely take his beard genetics, because this has took me a while.
That's a good one, man.
To be fair, right, I've not got an issue that like I can't grow a beard, because it does save me like being like, what would you say? I don't know what you would even fucking call it. Looking after it and fucking making sure that it's
well groomed.
Literally. So I don't have to do that, but I would always like to wonder what it would be like. Caitlin, I think I'm gonna have to go something similar to AJ, because obviously I think I didn't mess about at the start, but I just would have liked to have been in a better position at an earlier age. Like I started competing in like 4 years into training, and it wasn't until 4 years into training, it wasn't until I thought about competing that I actually started taking anything to do with like nutrition or a proper kind of approach to training. Like my first time taking anything to do with nutrition was the day that I started prep for the NABA Scotland in 2017, and then obviously from there it's been like head on to do with food and training and that. But I think it wasn't like 4 years wasted, but it was 4 years that definitely could have been better. And I think if I was in that kind of headspace and not even around the right people, but just had that bit extra kind of maybe like motivation or like inspiration to gain a bit more knowledge, I was just kind of learning whatever was put in front of me, and that was it. I never really researched anything. So I think, and DJ, I mean, I just can't stop thinking about your money.
Oh, fuck's sake. Can someone twist that on its head and say like work or like it's like I've landed in a pot of gold. Fuck me.
No, I would definitely not. To be fair, to be honest, probably your like passion for business. That's definitely another big thing, because obviously I think that does get overlooked a little bit as well. Like you've got a massive passion for obviously coaching and training and bodybuilding, but aside of that, like your the business side of things aside of that is obviously very inspiring as well. So I would probably want that.
Thank you, mate.
Go on, Caitlin. You've had plenty of time to think now. You've
I
got.
know. Everyone's just been licking each other's asses. This is very
That's
odd.
nice.
No,
Sometimes-
it's nice. It's nice. Straight away, I think I was going to use the word blasé, but I don't think it's blasé. That's the only sort of word I could think of. Whenever Keith approaches a set, he has no fear. Like, yeah, he's confident, but also, like, I don't want to say that you don't have to get amped up, but I see people get so much more amped up for something, and you can just walk up and you do it because you know you can do it. Like that to me, sometimes I wish I had a little bit more of, for sure. I think with AJ, how invested you get in people's progress. Like, I think that definitely is what separates a good coach from a great coach. You know, all of you have trained with him, but you know, even just in the set, you get the AJ whisper when he's spotting you, like just how invested he is. Jack, again, I'm gonna have to steal someone else's, but the fact that you actually sort of stand up for exactly what you want.
Man of the people.
I definitely just back away from anything. Like sometimes if someone has let's say I've got an opinion, someone else differs, I'll go, oh yeah, I know what you mean, just to appease it, because I just hate confrontation.
So you're going to say that even if it is against your boys? Look at it.
And George, you are very generous. Like I've seen you do a lot of stuff, like even just with, the tripod shit, like sending stuff out to other people, even over lockdown and stuff, went out of your way to help people with, how to build stuff if they haven't got the money to actually invest, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe I actually did that, to be fair. So yeah, I appreciate it. I surprised myself with the fucking rack. Jesus. Have you gone for everyone? Is that everyone?
Yeah.
That was a good question.
What is that, AJ? What is that? An acorn?
It's a chestnut.
A chestnut.
Yeah, it's a nut in the game chestnut.
There we go.
Oh, where's it gone? Oh, it's only there for a little bit. That's a shame.
What does a chestnut taste like?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never really eaten like many nuts as in like the actual nut.
No.
Like some nut butters. I used to have walnuts. I used to have walnuts.
I like walnuts.
I used to like warm them up and like just eat them with a meal.
Macadamias, they're top nut. They're top nuts.
Mac nut. What is it? Dave Palumbo that loves like macadamia nut oil.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive as fuck. Okay, I'll do me. Caitlin, I would say at your age, like I was so bothered about other people. Like I was so bothered about impressing other people. You know, that sort of age, like between like 18, 19, 20, 21, you just want to impress people and show off a little bit. I was that sort of person. And I wish I was just like you and not actually gave a fuck really, because when it comes to doing what you want to do, you just do what you want to do. And I don't think you really batter an eyelid when it comes to anyone else in that sense. So I would love to have that sort of mindset at like 18, 19, where responsibilities are lower. I don't have to please anyone. I don't really, care about much because you've got, you're so young still. So I would have looked back even at uni and fuck.
Oh, it sounds like I've got no emotion.
No, I'm not saying that at all. Of course not. But what I'm saying is just that when I look at you at uni, I wish I did more of what you're doing right now and enjoying yourself. That's why I told you fucking go and enjoy it, because that's one regret that I had it when I was at uni. I probably went out about 5 times in 3 years, which is fucking terrible. So that's something that I wish I'd done. And I can see that with you, that you just do what you want to do. And I appreciate that. Jack, I think very similar. Like, I think one thing that I really like about Jack is that when things don't go to plan, when things are shit, you never give up. And that just reminds me that, we all go through like even I've just seen you with your training and stuff like that. Like for me, if I was in your position with certain things that go on with your training, I would have probably given up fucking years ago, mate, and found something else to do. But you continue doing what you're doing. You don't give up, and I really I quite respect that a lot. regardless of what people say and all that sort of stuff, you still do you, and you still work. I give you advice, you fucking, like, for example, let's say the quarter turns, I said slight bend at the knee, I think it looks better. You will still go with a straight leg. I know you will. I know you will. I know you will. I know you will, because that's just how you do things. I saw it today. I was like, yeah, he's gone fucking back straight to the
bend at the knee.
Slight bend at the knee. AJ, I'd probably say exactly what I said before about, just very engaging, very well spoken, and when you're explaining things. I think you're very professional in that aspect as well. I think it's like really like it's a really good like selling point for you as well. Like, you're very professional what you do, and you back it up with results, and not only with that, with your intelligence and training. And Khifie, I would, I think with Khifie as well, it's very similar to Jack and AJ in the sense that, like, the guy's never had cream of rice ever in his life. He'll just stick to oats. Like, you're not someone that just jumps on trends because everyone else is fucking doing it. You stay in your own lane because you know it works, and you never drift away from that. And for me, like, I respect that a lot, because you just do you and it fucking works. I'd also love to take your deadlift, squat, bench, all that sort of stuff. I could go on about that. But yeah, I love the fact that, you just do you, and that's it. So yeah, that was nice. That was really nice.
I feel like we've bonded.
Yeah,
I was going to say, like,
we're all sitting here with smiles. So that's nice. It's a nice way to have a Friday evening with full of smiles.
Therapy.
I don't know how long we've been, about an hour, so I'll answer a couple more. Okay, we're all sponsored here. We'll go, this question is just how to get sponsored, ? So one tip from everyone when it comes to getting a sponsorship, what advice would you have for people?
Keep being you on a consistent basis
Yeah.
for a long period of time. And then the people that notice you for who you are will reach out to you, and you'll form a partnership as a result of the person you are, not a fake individual that you're trying to be because you're trying to get sponsored. So the sponsorships that you get as a result of being fake won't last very long, because they'll realize who you actually are.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I think just leading on from that, like, honesty, because if you're honest in everything you say and you give people your honest opinion, honest reviews on things, they'll take whatever you say as being the truth, essentially. So, like, when I say I'm taking a product, it works, or I enjoy taking it, they know straight away. They don't have to ask, even though some people will ask, "Is this any good, mate?" I'm just wasting my money on it. But yeah, a lot of the time, the fact that people trust you, that gets you along. That gets you a lot in life, to be honest. But definitely in terms of the sponsorship.
I think also one of the biggest things, like, taking it from that as well, is don't go looking for a sponsorship, because the more you go looking for a sponsorship and the more you try and spam all these companies asking them to sponsor you, and that the least chance you're going to get of them actually sponsoring you, because they're just going to, like, it's just, don't be like a fanboy in that kind of sense of trying to get sponsored. Just, yeah,
see people tagging stuff, and I'm thinking, you're fucking milking it, lad. Milking it.
I couldn't think of anything worse than messaging a company asking for a sponsorship. Like, I don't think. Do people do that?
Assuming you'll probably get that, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me one bit.
Think of the amount of messages Gymshark gets per day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Caitlin, any advice?
It'll literally come when you least expect it. To be honest, I did not expect sponsorships at all. There's no steps, like, there's no rules to it. So you just got, I don't know. It's really hard to say anything other than what AJ sort of initially said, because there are no rules to it. You're not entitled to anything. But one day someone will respect what you're doing and think that you would be able to reflect their brand well, and at that time then something will come about.
Yeah. I would just say, just a bit of personality, just like over the reason why I've got a sponsorship, and the reason why I'm the biggest athlete on Supplement Mad site, is because I put in the work over the past couple of years. And look how many videos I've got on YouTube. I've got over 500 videos on YouTube. I've been doing it for 5 years now. I do the podcast. I'm posting 1, 2, maybe 3 times a day on social media. I have a bit of personality. Oh yeah, I might not have the greatest physique, I might not be the strongest in the gym, but I have a bit of personality about me as well, and I keep it real. And I think nowadays that's becoming more popular rather than someone just getting sponsored because of their physique. So post, do it for a long time. If you're in it just to try and get sponsorship, you ain't going to get anywhere. And if something does come up, don't rush to take it. I've been there where something's came up and I've gone, oh, that could be an opportunity. Like if you're still 50-50 on it, don't fucking go for it. Like just be patient and something will come your way which will meet what you want to do, rather than plugging something that you don't really use or you fucking, don't believe in or whatever it may be. Do you feel classic is a good or bad thing for tested federations? Go on, Thorburn. You had something on your.
I think potentially it might water down the open category. And at the end of the day, like natural bodybuilding isn't exactly, the open isn't exactly full of mass monsters in the first place. A lot of the guys that do well have kind of like a classic look anyway.
Yeah.
I do get it though. There are a lot. The classic look has become very popular. George, I know at a couple of shows last year we even noted it that there were a few lads competing that really had a classic look about them.
I remember. Sorry to interrupt.
Was it in the Southern show?
I think it was the Southern. Yeah, it was the Southern show. I remember Keith, you actually messaging me and going, "Everyone wants to be a fucking classic bodybuilder. What happened? Everyone's posing to classic music. What about just being a big, huge bodybuilder?" I remember he was disgusted by it when you sent me that message.
I think I personally think that like if they were really going to try and drive it forward, I think there should be something like an age cap or something like that on it, because introducing just classic is having all your 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds who look up to Chris Bumstead immediately just going for a classic class. And it's like, how I don't even within natural bodybuilding, most of your good classic bodybuilders are really just shit open bodybuilders, right? Because obviously it's not a class that requires you to have a lot of muscle. It just requires you to be very shapely and have really fucking nice insertions and just essentially be classic. But all of the younger generation are just coming in and being like, oh fuck, love Chris Bumstead, I'm going to be a classic bodybuilder. And it's taken away from bodybuilding itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it should just be either something like an age cap, or it should just be a category for open bodybuilding, as in untested federations.
Yeah. I don't know. It's difficult because I appreciate classic bodybuilding, but I think if they started to introduce it, then like you said, the open class or the bodybuilding classes, I think will start to suffer, in my opinion. And then you'll start to get people who think they're classic, but they're not. Especially in natural body, because they absolutely like look up to C-Bum, all these classic bodybuilders, and then they go on stage and it's just a bit of a mockery, really. To the sport when they stand on stage and they're just basically a smaller body, not a smaller bodybuilder, I don't want to call it that, but they're just someone that
rib cage.
Yeah, you see a rib cage look, you don't. I think especially in natural bodybuilding, yes, I wouldn't like to see it, if I'm honest, because I think it would take away from some of these classes that I think are really good actually in natural bodybuilding. So yeah, I'd personally go against
it. Should be like the opposite. There's like just a handful of people who are really, 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 really good classic bodybuilders who should just do classic. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like now it's becoming much less people open and more people like in just a classic category to say you've done a classic class.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Just one more comment on that. It works, but it only works at the pro level. The only reason why it works at the pro level is because there is that disparity in muscle mass, and there is more maturity to the people that bring like the classic look. So actually look, honestly, some of the guys at like the Olympia that do the classic class, they look shit hot. Yeah. They probably could get like IFBB pro cards in classic. And they are truly what the class is. and they wouldn't win in the men's open natural Olympia because they're not as well muscled and their shape wouldn't only carry them. So it works at that level. But I agree with all of your other comments in the fact that at the amateur level, it's unfortunately going to probably bring about people that aren't truly classic. And also it might actually take people out of true bodybuilding, which is like the men's open categories, junior bodybuilding, and it will leave some juniors that could have done really well in just junior bodybuilding in a classic class, maybe getting beaten by men with like just more muscle, you know. So I think there needs to be guidance for the people that want to enter it, and they probably need to also have like a backup show or class to do alongside it to really find out whether they fit into the classic class themselves. For a great example is Kez, my men's physique client, who also has some really wacky like classic poses, like some of his rear double bicep, front double biceps, like really strong now that he's put on some more muscle. He's not a men's open bodybuilder, but he could quite well fit into that category.
Yeah.
So it's just, but we're going to prioritize men's physique because that's what he loves and enjoys. So
yeah, we'll leave it there. I think that's been a good solid hour. We had some good topics, good laughs, and it was all very much nice to each other, which all put a smile on our face, which is good. Smiles are great. As ever, guys, thank you for listening or watching this podcast. Please share it onto your social media. And yeah, we'll keep rolling these out. I quite enjoy them. Definitely in prep as well. They help with just like the hour goes by really quickly. And I notice as I'm getting hungrier now, like I need to keep my mind a little bit more occupied. So things are definitely, I'm going to try it. Well, I'm going to keep these up. Anyway, lots of love. Thanks for listening. And we shall see you guys. Shall we all wave? Jack, get off your phone.
Oh.
Captain Jack Sparrow down there.
oi.